Alright, everybody. So, 2024 award season is over. The Oscars are over, Golden Globes, all that stuff. And so, because of that, I thought I would make a list of all the movies I watched in 2024, since I feel like I've watched most of the ones I am going to watch. Now, there are still a few I haven't watched, like Furiosa, A Different Man, probably some others. Like, I feel like I can like now fully talk about just all the movies I liked, all the movies I didn't like. And I wanted to make this video because I saw this tweet that I can no longer find. It's gone, but it was comparing like the 2023 Oscar Best Pictures nominations versus the 2024 Oscar Best nominations. And it was talking about how it was such a downgrade. And at first I was like, yeah, I totally agree. But then I realized that I hadn't really watched all of them. And so then I went through them all, and then I kind of now disagree. Yeah, I do agree that nothing was as good as Killers of the Flower Moon, but overall I feel like 2024 had consistently better movies. Now, a lot of people consider it just like award season, Oscars, or whatever, to be pretentious, and that's fine. Like, it doesn't really matter who wins these awards or what speeches they give. But I do view these award shows as a way to find out more about some of these movies. Like last year, I had no idea about, past lives or even Poor Things or a Zone of Interest. Now this year I had no idea about like Nickel Boys, Sing Sing, or even Conclave. So I feel like the main purpose of these award shows should have is to give attention to these smaller movies that would normally just get drowned out by the blockbusters. So that's another reason why I'm making this video, is just to hopefully I have seen something that maybe you haven't. And maybe you are interested in one of these smaller movies that you might not otherwise have seen. Well, that being said, let's stop talking about movies and actually talk about movies. Now, the first movie that we're going to talk about kind of somewhat defeats the point I just made, because it had 13 nominations, and I don't know how. That movie is Emilia Perez. Even outside of the controversies, it's just not a good movie. It's just to be fair, I only watched like 30 or 40 minutes of the movie. So I didn't watch all of it, but I heard about like 4 or 5 songs, and I did not like those songs. They were not good. I really can't say stuff that hasn't already been said. I just know that the only thing I kind of liked about the movie was like some of the direction and like some of the choreography. Zoe Saldana was okay, so it's just kind of like the bare minimum you want for a musical. Well, that's not even true, because the bare minimum you want for a musical is the music to be good. And I can't say that's really true here, although I do remember kind of hearing in an interview that it isn't supposed to be a traditional musical, but you would think that the music would still at least be like good and palpable. But I guess not, no. The next movie we will be talking about is King Kong and Godzilla. I kind of forgot it came out this year. It's not very good. The main character, I think it's the main character. I just don't remember much about it. But I think the main character was like literally exposition. Like it wasn't a character. Like I remember like 20% of the way through watching the movie, I was like, wait, has this character said anything that would make them a character, or is it just exposition dumping? So then from like the 30% mark or whatever, I continued to like pay attention to all of her dialogue. From what I remember, it was just literally all exposition. There was no growth, or no, the character didn't want anything or need anything. It was just an exposition dump for stuff in the movie. And a lot of people said the movie was really fun and it was wacky and all that stuff, but like that's not really true either. I remember like maybe it was like the last 10 minutes were like kind of cool with like the 2-on-2 fight, but literally outside of that, it's like 90% of the movie sucks and it gets really, really bad, in my opinion. Especially coming right after Godzilla Minus One, which is a great, great movie. It just felt like such a huge downgrade. I know the different like universes or whatever. One's Hollywood, one's Japan, right? But like, I don't know. It just was not like I'm okay if the movies are fun and just like popcorn flicks, but like I don't. It just wasn't. There was nothing memorable about the movie, in my opinion. Joker 2. It's not as bad as everyone says, but it's not good. The first 2 minutes are the best part of the movie, and I feel like if the first 2 minutes are the best part of the movie, it's kind of a bad sign. I don't think this movie justifies its existence, which is like something I'm like self conflicting on, because I'm like, do movies need to justify their existence, or can movies just try to say what they want to say? But I felt like this movie didn't really have much to say, because it was very, it was just like, yeah, don't idolize the Joker's bad, blah, blah, blah. Which I feel like was, like, I feel like that came across in the first movie, even though a lot of people liked the Joaquin Phoenix Joker character in the first movie. I don't feel like the idolization problem was a big deal. I know a lot of people were thinking it was a big deal. I don't think it was a big deal. Like, I remember people liking the movie, but, like, you know, I feel like most adults should be able to separate fiction from reality. The songs were fine, but there's a lot of, like, talking, singing, where it's like you talk with a rhythm, and that's just kind of it, or like whisper singing, and I hate that personally. Yeah, watch the first 2 minutes. The first 2 minutes are great, but then you don't really have to watch anything else because the first 2 minutes tells you everything that's in the rest of the movie, like the bomb, the cops, the stuff that happens at the end. I don't want to spoil it, but I don't really care. I don't know, but yeah, you don't really have to watch much of this movie. It's fine. Now there is Megalopolis, and I liked Francis Ford Coppola's movies. I only started watching them this year, like The Godfather, Apocalypse Now. I liked those movies. I didn't really like this movie. I respect the vision, and I respect the passion. And I don't know if I can really say I didn't like this movie. I just don't remember much of anything. Like, I remember there being some funny moments. There's this interesting thing where, like, Adam Driver talks to the audience, and, like, some theaters would have, like, a worker or something ask Adam Driver questions. And that's really cool. That's, like, a thing you don't really see in movies ever. But I don't know if, I like the ideas. I just don't like the execution, and I want more of this experimentation just done better. And I do hope these passion projects, even if some of them are bad, do get funded in the future. I feel like this movie failing kind of hurt all of that. It's just like, this isn't going to make people or studios want to take risks, even though they should take risks every once in a while. Even if it's not the best, even if the vision sucks, it is something to admire, at least a little bit, in my opinion. Next movie we will talk about is September 5th. I don't really have a lot to say about this. It's kind of just, it's shot and acted very well, but I don't think it does anything great. There's a lot of stereotypical, like, news reporting, like, oh, we have to get this shot, or oh no, they cut the feed, or oh, we gotta, like, infiltrate this place, and it's just okay. Like, it's not great, and I know I like the fact that they made mistakes, like they reported too early on something without a source, but then, like, the movie just ends immediately after. There's no, like, real consequences. I know it's like a real life story, so I don't know what the consequences were because the movie doesn't really explore them, if there were any at all. And yeah, that's all I can really say. It was, like, fine. I like what it has to say about, like, just humans craving violence. That's why there's so many viewers watching, is because people expected something bad to happen and they wanted to see it. But other than that, I just don't think it's, like, a super interesting movie outside of that. Alright, so the next movie is Deadpool and Wolverine. That was a fun movie. I really liked the movie. It was just a breath of fresh air. It's probably the funnest time I've had watching a Marvel movie in a very long time. But the plot is kind of in shambles. I don't get how anchor beings work. It's just another multiversal plot gimmick that is probably never going to be brought up again. And maybe that'll matter, maybe it won't matter, but, like, how do they work, right? Like, if the universe slowly decays after their death, then, like, what happened to the universe before they were born? Like, did the universe always know they were going to be born and it just existed? Like, how does that work? My guess is that when somebody makes a new timeline, like, let's say in, like, the proper timeline, Wolverine was supposed to eat Cheerios instead of Frosted Flakes, but one day, instead of choosing Cheerios, he ate Frosted Flakes. Like, the new timeline was created, and that's why they're the anchor being, is because they made the split happen. That's my guess, but that was never said in the movie, and I don't feel like, as an audience member, I should, like, be interpreting their plot. Like, I feel like you should be able to interpret themes and maybe even lines of dialogue and subtext and things like that. But like, I feel like your plot should be like at least explained in your movie. And there's also like Logan. Like Logan should still be alive by the time Deadpool 3 rolls around, because Logan, the movie Logan, takes place in 2029, and that's still 5 years away. So I don't know. Like, did he try time travel to the future to like look at his grave, or did a thing like Logan, the movie, happen in this timeline just earlier? That's my guess. I don't know. Like, why did all the Wolverines want to attack Deadpool immediately on sight? I don't know. Why did the villain of the movie have a change of heart when Wolverine told her, oh, if Charles knew you existed, then he would, like, burn the earth to find you, or whatever he said. When she's met different versions of Charles Xavier, and presumably, expired them, killed them. I think I can say kill on YouTube. I think it's fine. And took their wheelchairs, right? Because like that's why she has the wheelchairs, because she killed a version of Charles Xavier. So why does she care about like what Wolverine said? I don't know. But again, nonetheless, it was really, really, really fun. I do wonder where Cable, Domino, and that one kid were, in this movie. I feel like there was a little bit more passion in this movie, right? Like there was a meta storyline with like the Fox universe being slowly destroyed or forgotten about, all the second chances stuff. But I feel like that should reflect in a better structured plot. I don't know. It was fun, and I it's very rewatchable. I just don't know. I like just quality wise, it could use some improvements. Still fun. Still fun. Inside Out 2. It was okay. It was like kind of like the first one. There were a lot of puns, like the sarcasm thing. Some of them were funny, some of them weren't funny, some of them were just kind of whatever. It is a kids' movie, but I feel like the quality of kids' movies have kind of gone down somewhat. But yeah, it was a good time. Riley is still a sociopath or something. Like, I don't know. Like, if I knew a person like that in real life, I would probably avoid them. She's a child, but even so, it's just she's a little crazy, but that's okay, I guess. Joy, I liked what she had to say at the end of the movie about like how you just experience less joy as you grow older. I was not expecting that, but I liked it, yeah. And then I don't know how the mechanics work. Like, I know I'm talking about the mechanics a lot with like Deadpool and now Inside Out 2, but like we saw the minds of the adults, and they didn't have, what was it, like anxiety and embarrassment were like two of the new ones. But Riley has them, so why don't the adults have them? You think they would have them? I don't know, it's not a big deal, but it's just kind of whatever. It was an okay movie. Yeah. I think this is still considered to be a better kids movie, slightly. Wallace and Gromit, the newest one. I thought the first 30 minutes with the penguin were really funny. I think this movie has a little bit more to say, because there was a lot of like, there wasn't like a direct AI thing, but it was like robots taking jobs and things like that. And it was a good time. It kind of made me want to rewatch some of the other movies to see if they hold up, because I haven't watched a Wallace and Gromit movie in like probably like 15 years at this point. It was a nice cozy movie. Would recommend it. I mean, it's I mean, if you have a kid, I would recommend it. But yeah, good times. I don't know. Transformers. I was kind of surprised at how much I liked this movie. Bumblebee was annoying, but that's on purpose, I think, just because we know what happens to Bumblebee in most iterations of the character, Chris Hemsworth did a really good job as Optimus Prime. I was surprised, honestly. And so did the voice actor from Megatron. I just didn't really have a lot of expectations for Megatron, just because I didn't really... I don't think I've watched any other movies with that actor in it. So I was just like, yeah, that could be good, might be bad, I don't know. With Chris Hemsworth, I was worried, and was proven wrong, so that's nice. I like the whole plot with Sentinel Prime, kind of just like manipulating the Transformers and the Decepticons, how they arose, and all the other Primes being betrayed, and I'm very much looking forward to a sequel. I kind of want there to be a sequel with the... Who are the aliens? Like the Quintessacons? Am I mixing that up with Transformers 5? I don't really know. But, yeah, I want a sequel where they fight the other alien squid robot things. I think that'd be cool. Yeah, it was fun time. Honestly, nothing really terribly wrong with it. Yeah. Now let's talk about Sonic 3. Another really, really fun, good kids movie. I don't like the human characters, but they don't really play much of a role, so it doesn't really matter. Of course, Eggman is different. Hit the dance scene, iconic. I loved it. I watch it sometimes. It's a good time. All the Sonic movies just get better and better. So hopefully Sonic 4 just blows my mind, because this is really, really fun. I think there's an obvious theme of like friendship and like teamwork and stuff that's exemplified, like when Tails helps Sonic fly through the force field thing right before the dance number, and then Sonic and Shadow learning how to work together at the very end. And I liked all the characters, and I hope Eggman comes back, and I just don't know how that will happen. I'm sure he will somehow. The after credits scene with Amy, I was like, wow, I kind of forgot she existed. But I'm surprised she wasn't in like the first 3 movies. That's kind of crazy. But yeah, so I'm excited for Sonic 4. Would recommend. It's a fun time. Nothing too crazy. Pretty solid. Now, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I honestly don't have a lot of notes on this movie. I think like the first half was boring, and it just kind of made me more excited for what will happen after. Like, I love the dynamic between the main character and the human main character. That was good, and how it dissolved at the end of the movie. I like the villain, I just don't like how he was defeated with, like, the birds. I was like, that's kind of... I get it, I just don't like it, I don't know. The CGI was, of course, incredible, and it seems like they're gonna pay off the setup that was in the very first movie with the people landing on Mars, but they disappeared or whatever. So I'm excited to see where that goes and see if we get like a full-blown remake of the original movies, or if it just leads into the original movies, or if like something happens causing a new timeline to be made or something. I don't know. It seems like time travel might play a role, maybe. I don't know. I like how simple the plot was. It was just like, let's try to get into... What was it? It was like a military compound or something with all these like weapons and technology. I liked how simple it was, and it didn't try to be like overly bombastic. The next is A Real Pain. This is I think Jesse Eisenberg's second directed movie, and it's a pretty good movie. I liked it. The character David kind of has a really good arc where he realizes that really all he can do is be there for his cousin and not really much else. His cousin doesn't really have an arc. It's kind of a flat arc, and I think that's kind of shown by his like first and last lines being very similar. Of course, he's the first and last shot of the movie, and it's like he's in the same place. I saw someone else also pick up on a really cool idea where it's like, I think it was like the first morning in Poland, Jesse Eisenberg's character David walks in on their hotel room, and then Benji's like face down on the bed, and that kind of, he like kind of stumbles for a bit, and it's kind of comedic. But as we find out later, that it's kind of like almost like a PTSD reaction from Jesse Eisenberg's character based off of what we find out about Benji later when at the dinner scene. And I think that's just a really cool like foreshadowing thing, and something really neat to pick up on a rewatch. Which kind of brings me to my next point, where it's like, the movie's called A Real Pain, and it explores pain in a lot of different ways. Like there's generational pain, there's like pain of like not being able to help somebody. There's like the internal depression that Benji goes through, even though he's very extroverted. There's also like jealousy involved with Jesse Eisenberg's character and Kieran Culkin's character, where, Kieran Culkin, he's very extroverted, and Jesse Eisenberg's character is very introverted. He's jealous of how his cousin can like interact with so many people and connect with them so fast. And that's kind of exemplified. I think it's like at the end of the movie where the tour guide, gives a heartfelt speech to like everyone. But then when he turns to David, he's just like, bye. He doesn't really, there wasn't a connection built. I think that was just for the movie. I feel like in real life, after everything that they went through, there would be something a little bit more there. But it still works. It's a very nice and comedic film. I think a few negatives would be the piano. It uses way too much piano. And some of the transition shots, they're trying to show Poland as it is, and not just, a historical site, but trying to make it seem more lively, and that's good. I feel like some of the transitions where it's like, oh, here's a shot of this building, here's a shot of this pond or this fountain, or here's a shot of this other thing, all in like succession. Kind of slowed the movie down a little bit, but I mean, some people might like it. I just personally didn't like that. Next movie is A Complete Unknown. I feel like I didn't really find out a lot more about Bob Dylan after this movie. I kind of go back and forth on that because the movie kind of does go into his mind quite a bit. There is like, moments where I think he's like tired of people being jealous of him. There's like a line where he says that other people say to him, other people are jealous that the music doesn't just come to them. It kind of shows that he's just not handling this very well. Like, he does change a lot throughout the movie. I feel like the main point of the movie is like, should you stay with the movement that you're a part of, which is like the folk music, or should you follow your own like artistic expression and do what you want to do? Because you're your own person, you're the artist, whatever. And that's an aspect I like a lot. I feel like this movie was repetitive at times, where it's like, alright, here's how he made the song, here's him singing the song. It is a musical biopic, so I can't complain too much. But I was very impressed with all the performances. Monica Barbaro had a very good singing voice. And I am one of the people where it's just like, I prefer her singing over Timothée Chalamet singing, just slightly, but it's just different. Edward Norton's character is also very, very good, and the dynamic between him and Timothy is top-notch, because he represents that folk music side, and Timothy is more about his own artistic expression. So We Live in Time. It's a movie that tries, I feel like, a little too hard to pull on your heartstrings. You can tell the movie is trying a little harder with its non-linear style storytelling, but I honestly feel like comparing to another movie that's on this list later, that kind of hinders it more than it helps it. There's a setup and payoff with the egg, but like I don't really know if there's like more to the egg. I think the egg just kind of represents what she meant to them and the impact she left on her family when she was gone. And I feel like this movie was a little more one-sided when it came to the relationships between the characters. Like I feel like we found out more about Florence Pugh, and Florence Pugh's character was like the center, whereas Andrew Garfield was more of a side character, which is fine, it's okay, but I feel like we found out next to nothing about Andrew Garfield's character by comparison. We know he has a dad, we know he has a job, we know he was divorced, but that's kind of it. And whenever they were arguing, I was like, yeah, I don't really understand Florence Pugh's side all that much. She makes more mistakes. Whereas Andrew Garfield's character, I don't really feel like makes a lot of mistakes in this movie. I feel like in general he just kind of gets more screwed over. Like the thing with the wedding date could have been completely avoided if she just told him about the competition when she found out about those dates, and they wouldn't have been an issue. It's shot well, it's acted well, but all around just kind of a safe movie. The next movie is a movie called YOLO. It is a Chinese movie made earlier this year, and the person who made it is the writer, the director, and the main actress for the movie. I think she also helped produce the movie. She made this movie because she was a comedian in China, and because she was overweight whenever she would appear in other people's projects. I think the idea was that she was like the butt of other people's jokes, and she didn't really like that. So she kind of made this movie to prove to herself that she could lose weight and kind of make like an inspirational feel-good type of movie with a shift from comedy, and there's still comedic elements in this movie. It's a shift from comedy to kind of more dramatic style of storytelling, especially if you see her other movie, Hi Mom, which I have not seen yet, but I heard it's more drama-based than comedy-based. I plan to watch that sometime soon. The movie is about a gal who has kind of given up on life, and whenever she tries to do something to fix it, or like please others or whatever, it kind of ends up in vain. It doesn't really get her anywhere. But she eventually gets into working out and boxing, and the movie's very focused on like self-improvement and self-discovery through making connections, working out, taking care of yourself. One thing I really, really like about this movie, and it's probably more of a shallow reason as to why I like this movie a lot, is just because of the bright colors. It's like you can actually see stuff, and I feel like a lot of times, especially in Western media, things are so dark. Like Game of Thrones is like the easy example to go to. It's like, yeah, sometimes you just can't tell what is happening on the screen, but that was not an issue here. And I feel like the direction was like maybe like a overall a little flat, but like there were some really good shots in the movie, some pretty solid cinematography. There was like one scene I thought was like, a little too self-indulgent, but I mean it's a movie about her progression as a person and working out and stuff. But it was like you see her current self and her past self like walking down a hallway in tandem, and they're both like congratulating one another because she lost the weight. And it's cool because it's like, oh, she reached her goal. I feel like it dragged on just a tad too long. The ending of the movie is really, really good. There's a lot of like, revelations about stuff that happened early in the movie. So it earns a rewatch. I'll probably rewatch it at some point, maybe after I watch Hi Mom. But yeah, pretty solid movie all around, and I would recommend it. Now we have Conclave. Conclave was up for Best Picture and a really solid following. A lot of people really, really liked it. I thought it would have been the most boring of the Best Picture wins if it won. It didn't win, and that's okay. I thought this movie did everything pretty good, but nothing really great. Like, there was a lot of good cinematography, a lot of good shots. The acting was very good. In the beginning, I was like, oh, this is kind of Ralph Fiennes. But then, as the movie progressed, especially when he's yelling at the cardinal called Innocent, that was like the moment where I was like kind of more locked in. He's like, please don't vote for me. And it's kind of about like the progressive side of church trying to become the pope after the last pope died, versus making the next pope very conservative. And there's a lot of tests throughout the movie, especially at the ending. I liked the ending twist, but I didn't like love it. It was like, yeah, it's a cool like challenge for the character. Maybe it came a little out of nowhere. I think they hinted at it earlier in the film. I could be wrong. I know a lot of people complained that it came out of nowhere. I didn't really feel that way. What I felt like came out of nowhere, spoilers, is the bomb. Like, was there any hint to the bomb? It's just something that happens and allows Innocent to make this great grand speech. And I was like, I didn't really care for it all that much. Yeah, I mean, it's a solid movie. I think the music is like sometimes distracting. There's like very intense scores when like nothing's happening. And yeah, I think my favorite scene of the film, spoilers again, is when he tells one of the more conservative popes, that based off of an incident in the cafeteria, that they will never be the pope. And it's just like this door is closed for them forever. Because, I mean, it's not every day that, you have to vote to become a pope, and the next time it happens, he'll probably be too old, or he'll probably just full on die, be dead at that point, who knows. But that was like the most like relatable moment to me, just because I'm like, yeah, there's a lot of like opportunities that just kind of pass you by, and you just have no control over it sometimes. Alright, this video is getting a little bit long, so I'm going to split this into 2 parts. And next week we will talk about all the other movies, including Nosferatu, Anora, Challengers, and a lot more. So I'll see you then. Until next time, bye.